mean, we split all the money when it comes to this show, right? Oh, some people don't know. Okay, anyway.
Well, is this for a known publisher? Is it
It's a pitch.
not? They'll have to sell it yet.
It's a pitch, but the pitch is 10 issues long.
What
So
the fuck?
Whoa.
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, what?
yeah.
Well, that's a nice job,
Holy
man.
It
shit.
is. I'm not even kidding.
So it's like the story is practically done. We just need you to publish
Correct.
it.
That's the plan.
What if it's a no?
Again. I don't give a fuck. I got paid.
That's true.
Who's the writer?
God damn,
Some new
man.
guy. Some new guy.
You guys.
Yeah.
Where do you get a lot of your work, John? Deviant art.
No,
I have no
they
idea.
find me through my website.
Ah,
I mean, my website's been around since like 20.
it's nice having a
2009.
website. Do you do like SEO marketing stuff? You know, that's how they find you.
Let's say yes.
I have no idea. I don't even know what I'm
Just
saying.
say yes. It's easier.
I'm kidding. I should know. I should know about SEO.
Where
but I won't discuss
were
that.
you late, Butch?
What was I doing? I did groceries. Really exciting in my
Wow.
life.
I just posted for those listeners listening today. I posted today that new banner for TK, which I'm pretty proud of. But I will. I need to fix it because I think I
Yep.
made Migs a
I
little
like
too
that,
dark.
man. I like that. It's inspiring.
Thanks.
Makes me want to go on. Now, if you'd only do those strips, I'd feel even more enganyo to do this.
Wow. Don't
We need the strips.
don't do us any favors each.
We need the strips.
But
Fine.
I feel like
Fine. I won't.
I made Migs too dark. I mean,
He's dark.
he's very no, he's not. He's very Chinese. I should probably tweak
It's
him.
the aura.
You accidentally
Well,
tried.
Maybe you were
his insight
channeling.
again.
Maybe you were channeling his aura, man.
Yeah.
Oops.
Mm. And there should be a PS4 behind him at all times, like a backpack.
It's his hat.
Welcome back to Trash Comic Arrows. This is episode 44. I don't know what it translates to yet. If we go by legacy numbering, it should be like 170 or something, 180 by now.
Damn.
Yeah,
Legacy
I'm not even
numbering.
kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. Tres Comic Arrows is the #1 comics discussion podcast in the Philippines with a brand new banner. You can listen to us on iTunes.
Dude, you can do bidding.
I know. Stitcher, Podcast Republic, and you can follow us on Facebook. Trash Comic Arrows is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network. I am your host for this evening. My name is John. With me is EJ.
Hello, guys. What's up?
We have Butch with 2 arms full of groceries.
I love Japan.
right? And Alex with no pants.
What's up?
Hey man,
Japan.
this is gonna be a special.
I
Japan.
love Japan.
This is gonna be a special episode. We have formally dubbed it Tres Otakeros episode, which means we are otakus tonight strictly because this is an anime special, guys.
Hooray.
By
That's
special,
why I was like, Bush is joining us?
So
Does he
exciting.
know what we're talking about tonight?
by special request, Butch wanted this so hard. He was
Yeah.
like, "Please do an anime special, please."
I'm here for
I
the
got my
final
groceries
discussion.
ready. Yeah.
Let me learn.
Yeah. Before we jump into things, I actually don't have any news, and nothing big happened this week aside from that whole. Well, I don't want to say it's not big, but it's been dealt with, or lots of people have been talking about it already. The whole Marvel debacle,
Oh my god.
debacles, as the Greeks say.
A lot of butthurt people out there. I don't know.
Are we skipping that? I'm okay to skip that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're okay. There's a new thing about with Axel Alonso. You heard about it?
Yeah,
What do
go
you think?
on.
I'm not entirely sure because I just saw a few tweets about it. It's regarding he mentioned that there's no like if you work for Marvel or the big publishers, there's no way for an artist to pop out or to like highlight them. Like, there's
Yeah.
no avenue, there's no avenue in the current industry or for an artist to be like recognized.
What?
No, exactly.
So
Actually, specifically, what he said is there are no artists right now that move the needle.
That too.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh,
artists are not the draw right now in This is well, this is at this
Are
point.
we considering artists being the art and writers, or purely art direction, art doing the pages, the panels,
drawings,
We're
drawers.
pencils?
talking pencilers and inkers, I guess.
Except for
That's
two
sad.
guys, according to him.
That's an opinion for
Really? I
one.
mean, there is no one threading the needle. There's no one getting people excited with their art.
Right?
Well, I believe
That's kind of
I believe the
nuts.
full quote, and this is third hand quote by now. I believe it was aside from Quapel and McNiven, there are no artists that move the needle. I believe that is the full quote.
Wala John, your idol is not wasn't mentioned.
I
My
know.
God.
Were you hurt?
That's weird, right? Not even Lionel can move the needle apparently, according to Axel Alonso. That's so there's something wrong with that statement. Not
mean-
even Eminem, not even who else is around right now? McGuinness,
Jim
he's a
Chong?
superstar.
Oh,
Yeah.
McGinnis, yeah. Jesus.
Nobody? Come on.
Come on.
That is very strange. That is very well. It might be also due to the nature of what they're doing with the books, and everything. People are fed up with the stories that it's there's a lot of shitty stuff coming out that it overshadows anything the artists are doing.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter what they're doing, even if it's good or not. It's like I'm sick of this. It's like a lot of the focus is on the writing, good or bad. Although so it's something like Vision. I mean, that really stood out, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you who the artist that was.
The
Walta?
funny thing,
Is that his name?
yeah, Gabriel
See,
Walta, something like that.
and I mean, it did the job.
Hmm.
But man, for a book like that, I think you should have brought on the big guns, man.
I think it worked. It worked out.
I think they were us. It did, but I think they were just as surprised at the outcome of that book.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they didn't know that they had to put someone on that. I mean, it's like they need to put big guns sometimes on small work. They're putting some huge names. Well, not huge, but like rising talents supposedly on these
Events.
titles that are supposed to test their metal and everything. But sometimes it's the smaller stories
Oh, yeah.
that actually stand out. And that's where they need to put the artist. Maybe it's a better combination of work.
The funny thing the funny thing about this statement is that it's Marvel sort of blaming a lack of superstar artists when you mean they have no shortage of good artists, but they shuffle them around almost every 2-3 months. So
Yeah.
no one artist can stay on one book and really
Yep.
build an identity for himself. And aside from that, even if they do stay on one book, the creative teams are always shuffled, switched off. Like it's 2 weeks or 2 months in a row, it's Coppel, and then for the other 2 weeks, it's gonna be Kim Jacinto, and then they keep doing that.
Like exactly, and it's the most the best example and the worst also at the same time is the new Astonishing X-Men, where they said every single issue is gonna be a different artist,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
and I was like, what? What are you doing? Are you trying to make sure that the X-Men suck?
Well, at
Yeah,
least they're
and
announcing it.
Well, I think we can unofficially say that yes, that's
Did
what
they
they're
announce
doing.
it?
No, I mean they
What do you
announced
mean?
from the start. They're saying it's a new artist per issue, right? So, unlike some other times when you get unexpected fill-ins and that's a bummer. But at least with this one, it's a format like they did it with Mark Wade's Shield book. Like from the start, they're like one artist per issue, and everybody knows, so nobody's surprised. At least
Well, that
just in that
depends.
case, yeah.
That depends if it's all done in one, then that's fine.
Right, that's
But
true.
It's a case to case basis, and I'm like, they have done this for years. Like they have always put a premium more on their writers with the whole architects thing. And I want to say for the past 5 years, there's been no mention of anything resembling a young gun. They don't do that anymore.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they don't do the young guns anymore.
Yep. Yep. True.
So
They don't do the what?
the young guns thing, where they
What do
say
you
that
mean?
about 5 6 years ago, Marvel would always say, "All right, these are our young guns, 5 artists who you should look out for, and they will be on these books." They would say, "Jim Chung is our young gun for this, one of our young guns. Stuart Eminem, who's like 40 years old, is one of our young guns."
Was he a
And I'm
young
like,
gun?
"Yeah, he was, he was."
Wow.
And I'm like, "That's
Compared to
weird,
who?
but I don't know." And they don't even do that anymore,
Right.
So as an artist myself, I'm pissed on behalf of Butch.
Thanks.
So
I'm pissed.
yeah, during that summit, there's been a lot of stuff like the whole diversity thing, but that's been done to death. And
Yeah.
this episode is gonna be posted a week after that, so we're just gonna move on to more lighthearted topics and talk about Japanese culture.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, guys.
Your favorite Butch.
Yamite.
Konnichiwa!
Hi.
uh,
We
but
suck. We're so racist. I'm
question
sorry.
though. Honey-chan. Question though, did any of you see Ghost in the Shell? Ghost in the Shell, the movie, the
Not
live
yet.
action
Not
film.
No,
Not yet.
no, haven't seen it yet.
Not yet.
All right. So I'm
You
just
know
gonna
me, no time to watch anything.
Some anime fans you
apparently,
guys are.
apparently.
I know.
I'm just gonna touch on it then. I watched it about a week ago. I'm a big fan of the original. I did not hate the Scarlett Johansson movie. I will say that. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just okay. Um, I can understand why some people will be offended by it, but what bothers me, what's funny to me rather, is that all the people who are up in arms about it are white people. I mean,
Shocking.
I saw videos where
Yeah,
Japanese
right?
fans of the franchise were
I
like,
mean,
"That's
I don't
cool."
know. I don't hear the Japanese actually complaining about anything. Like, they don't
No, it's
care.
the opposite.
What
They like it.
the? Yeah, I know.
There's this video on
Because I
YouTube.
mean, there's a lot of talk already about like how, well, back in the day, how they used to draw animation, and the peg was Caucasians,
Yeah.
right? I mean, bigger eyes. That's why a lot of them are red-haired, or what do you call it, gray-haired, blonde-haired,
Mhm.
really tall, fair-skinned. That's what do you call this? I mean, they even throw in the token black guy.
Yeah, that's true.
In there from time to time. And I swear, when I went to Japan, I didn't see a single black guy.
You were the blackest guy there.
I was the blackest guy there, yeah. Yeah, because of all my hair.
Usually was.
Yeah. But I'm saying, as a fan of the franchise, I did actually enjoy this movie. It's not terrible. It has some really cool homages. The whole camo suit sequence. There's a
Yeah,
spider tank at one point.
nice.
Um, the
Like
music
this
isn't
But
by.
it didn't end with the spider tank? Because that's how the first one ended, diba?
It's near the end. I'll say that.
I,
There's some really
my friend
good
said,
callbacks. Yeah.
a friend said that the CG or the art direction in this like really threads the needle. Like it really pushes what special effects can do.
hmm
Is that you feel the same way? Because I mean, this guy is very critical also of stuff like this.
It's hard for me to say
And he
either.
said in that regard, it was amazing.
It's hard for me to say either yes or no because I mean it's 2017 and the original movie came out in 1994 and in that space in between those years so many movies have come out that were inspired by the original movie. So
Yeah,
with Ghost in the Shell coming out this year, it even though it's the predecessor, it feels like it's retreading a lot of the stuff that it inspired. You know what I mean? So it's sad, but at the same time, it did feel good. Um, I will say her name is not Kusanagi in the film. It's an American name, but If you see the film, you'll find out that there's a reason for that. I'm not gonna spoil, but they get into that. Um,
Okay.
But she is the major.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of the whitewashing criticisms are coming from people who did not bother to see the film, to be honest, because they honestly they explain it. There's a reason for it. There's actually an in-story reason why it is the way it is. And if you're a fan of the original franchise, you will appreciate it even more. But that's it. That's all I'm gonna say on it. If you wanna find out if
I'm still interested.
yeah, Lex, are you gonna see it still?
Um, I'll just wait for the internet version.
I know what.
As usual.
Are you a fan of this, Butch?
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Go Japan,
Yeah, it wasn't a
Cool.
show. Spider tank.
Nice.
The fuck is a spider tank? I mean,
uh, me and EJ.
He's picking up bits and pieces here. That's like,
I know.
that sounds amazing. That sounds okay.
Me and EJ are actually gonna talk about another animated film later on, but before we jump into that, Lex, you recently got into a new anime series.
I did.
Really?
Oh.
It's not entirely new. Yes, it is new.
Yes.
Did you expect it to suck, but it exceeded expectations?
Not really.
Shokugeki.
What did I see? What did I watch?
You watched? Oh God. You watched something about witches.
It's Little Witch Academia, the TV show.
Macadamia
yeah.
Academia Nuts. It's about
Little
a
Witch
school.
Macadamias.
It's about young girls in a witch school.
Nice.
Ooh.
Sounds exciting, Butch.
I
I know you want to watch it too. Um,
I was about to ask, like, oh, how close is it to Harry Potter? But you don't know shit about that, so never mind.
Doesn't
I
he?
don't know. It's different.
Oh, he does know.
Bits and pieces.
Okay.
It doesn't have spider tanks though.
No,
But
damn it.
yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, it's based off. It was initially released as a movie by. I forgot what year it was, but it was a few years ago.
2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago, yeah. It's by the studio that did Kill la Kill. So it's
Studio
by Studio
Trigger.
Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So the original.
Same ones that did Gurren Lagann, or just some of the animators now?
I think
So-
Gurren Lagann was Gainax.
Gainax, yeah. But the animators,
But it's very similar.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the animators from the Gainax, they started Studio Trigger. Some of them, not
Yeah.
Is that still even around? Is Gainax still around?
Are they?
I think so. I'm not sure.
But go on,
The
Lex.
guys are.
I'll have to look that
But
up.
yeah, anyway, if you get a chance, try watching the first. Try watching the movie first. It's it's not.
It leads to this.
Yeah, it leads. It's the TV show is more like a prequel to the movie. But it adds more.
Well, I should watch the TV show then.
Huh? Yeah, but
I should just watch the TV show then,
it gives
then
you
watch the movie.
more. It has more. It makes more sense if you watch the movie first, because some of
Right,
the
right, yes.
yeah, some of the things in the show aren't explained that well unless you saw the movie. Basically, it's
Okay.
the story of a girl who wanted to be a witch, and she. I'm not sure if she
She
got
didn't want to
accepted.
become a
Yeah, she got
warlock.
accepted to the witch academy, but she isn't a witch per se. So she doesn't have witch powers and stuff. So it's a very lighthearted show. It's more into a slice of life comedy fantasy genre. But what
Nice.
but what mainly what they call this what attracted me to the show was mainly the studio and the art style, because I was
has
a fan
really
of the
good
first
art.
movie. Yeah, that's really good art. It's very
Yeah, I'm
consistent.
sold there. That's all you needed to say, really.
Yeah, it's the consistency. It's there. So if you want to watch magical girls, then this is for you. And Butch,
Butch needs Only but a mirror to see a magical girl. The TK unicorn, as we call him. But are you done with this, Lex?
I'm 6 episodes
I'm done with
in.
it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many
Uh,
episodes there are.
I need more things to watch with my kids, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Watching
this
this,
is good
yes.
with kids age.
Huh.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Closer, yeah, because you say there are like high school themed, magical, whatever, but they
Yeah,
go really dark, you know. But
no,
but this is a very light tone.
it is with great art.
All right. So
The art is the
Yeah,
same as the movie.
yes.
it is. Yes.
Okay,
Now
okay.
I already saw a bit of this, but just for the sake of listeners who might want to know a little bit more, does it feel like Harry Potter to you, Lex?
Um, Not really.
Mm-hmm. Why?
It's it it Harry Potter's a bit darker and a bit more serious.
Mm-hmm.
I think, based on what I know.
Hmm.
Um, this one is very lighthearted from the get-go, and is the show just adds more elements into the characters, like what are their motivations and basically what they did in the academy before the movie. So it's
In
more.
this world, though,
Uh,
in this world, is magic normal
no,
or
magic magic here has a source, so they get to use their powers while they are in the academy because there's like a sorcerer's stone there where they get their powers. When they
Mm.
go outside
uh,
of the school, like when they go into towns, they don't have powers unless they have like
and
in the
people don't
movie.
know.
I can't remember.
People don't.
People know there are
People
witches.
normal.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
so this world is it's like it's open. It's not like
it is.
muggles are hidden
Yes,
from the world of.
yeah.
Ah,
Because
Last.
in the
that's
movie
very different.
there's like a witch festival and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah, they're not they don't live in
Hidden.
secret unlike in
I
Last
Harry Potter.
question,
Yeah.
and this is very
Yes.
important. Is very important. Is it an all-girls school?
It is.
Okay.
Mm,
the exasperation.
it is.
It's like Alex. It's like, what are you
I hope
asking me, John?
I satisfied your curiosity.
That's a very mild way of putting it,
No,
Lex.
it's
Yeah.
it's good that it's an all-girls school because if it was co-ed, that
Mm-hmm.
opens the door to to
What?
prison school.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Then Alex, then John's gonna ask, but are there male teachers?
There are
Ah,
none.
okay, okay.
Some of them lesbians.
But seriously, they're all women?
Yeah.
All witches, all okay.
Hmm.
There's no like male counterpart in this world.
Based so far there's no yeah, no male main character.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was dragon that sounded like a dude. So- oh yeah, this dragon guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Moving on to another school that is actually an all-girls school. I mentioned it briefly. Prison School is something I watched this past month.
Wait,
Yes,
that's not an all. Oh yeah, it is. It is an all girl. Okay, sorry. Never
it is an
mind. Go
all-girls
on.
school. And just to set it up for people who have never heard of this show, I believe it's 12 episodes. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Nothing.
Um, so it's an all-girls school, and it features five dudes who have been transferred to this all-girls school. And being in high school, there's a lot of hormones running around. So in the very first episode, the mission of these five dudes is to somehow peep into the girls' shower. Uh, some hilarity ensues when they actually partially succeed in their attempt, but they are discovered by the evil student council and their crow spies that they can actually see through. It's weird. Anyway, the show is
You
called
admitted it too soon.
yeah, the show is called Prison School, and that's because by the second half of the first episode, the five teen boys are thrown in prison, and the whole series is all about them trying to break out. Uh, One of them wants to break out because he has a date that he promised that he would be on. One of them wants to break out because he wants to purchase this uh, figurine that's available only once every 10 years or something like that. But they each have very funny reasons to want to leave. There's betrayal. Some of their captors or their wardens are really really hot women, so that makes it even funnier. Uh,
Do they capture the weirdness of each character
yes,
in the
100%.
manga very well?
100%.
Like, cause oh my gosh, cause I mean, I never saw the anime, but I did read the manga, and yes, it can be very funny, but it does get really dark also.
And very raunchy.
As
Nice.
and it does get a little raunchy, and I'm like, I kind of stopped because it was going in places I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep reading. Yeah, and that's like what, oh yeah, 50, 60 issues
It was
in.
going in places where I
I
live.
decide, yeah, maybe I've had enough of this.
You know what you found in
But
those places?
it's hilarious.
Um,
It's hilarious. But maybe I might just check it out
I
again.
mean, there are golden showers in this.
No, no,
Don't
what?
Google that. There's a lot of stuff in it, and what else is in this?
Really, I don't remember that from the first
That's in
arc.
like the third episode or the fourth episode, even third or fourth.
Good
Yeah.
lord. Oh yeah, dude. This thing gets sick.
It-
I'm starting to remember already. Like I'm like, yeah. The farther you get in this, especially in the manga, it's like we're pushing boundaries here,
Mhm.
guys.
Oh, and you know how when there's an overweight character, he's drawn to be overweight, right? His proportions are more extreme, but his
Mhm.
underlying skeletal structure, you can still see that there's a human being underneath all of that. But the way the way they draw it in this show is the body of the person is overweight, but just to push it even more, the face of that person is drawn extra small on his figure, so it makes it even funnier. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's actually really hilarious. For those of you who are
Into
into
weird
some of
stuff.
the weirder anime, yeah, check out Prison School. If you're into weird anime, you probably have already seen this actually, but I just want to point out that I did just see it this,
It's been out a while.
yeah, like 1 or 2 years now, but I just recently got the chance to see it because Jad was not interested in it. So because she was away for a month, I just watched all of it in like 2 days.
Of course she wouldn't be into it,
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, that's
So even now she didn't even see, she hasn't seen anything of this at all.
no.
What did she say when you broached the, what do you call this, the first
Well,
time?
I
Or what did she say? Why doesn't she want to watch it?
she said there's a lady with balloon tits on the poster. So she just wasn't interested in that anymore. And
It's just
and I said they're golden showers. They're just like no, no thanks. Um, Butch, you saw this, right?
Sure, yeah. I have a question. Is there like some kind of overpowered older person in this show who
Yes.
might possibly be small?
No. What?
what?
Oh,
Small?
because I always see that in a lot of the cartoons that I watch.
Overpowered older person. The last time I saw that was in One Punch Man.
There you go.
Yeah, look at Butch calling them
I
cartoons.
know, right?
Hmm.
I just call them programs.
Yeah, but no, this every I think they cover every fetish in this, man. Like if there's a fetish, I think they covered it.
Pretty much. They don't go brown. Uh,
Yeah, they don't.
Fortunately, they don't go brown, but it's still pretty good. It's still pretty crazy. You recently finished Konosuba.
I actually I finished Konosuba maybe a month ago, 2 months ago,
Oh,
or a month and a half ago.
care to talk about it?
The first season, huh? The first season. Um, Konosuba is probably the funniest fantasy anime. I'm not sure if it's the funniest fantasy
Hmm.
ever, anime ever that I've seen, but it's definitely the funniest fantasy anime, especially one that uses a lot of RPG tropes. Um, I was drawn to I was sold on this immediately after the first episode alone because the premise is hilarious already in itself. This um, shut in otaku guy uh, never goes out of his room usually. But for once he had to go out because he buys this limited edition
Game.
um, box set or game,
Yeah.
right? So he has to go. So he has to go out. So while he's walking home, he already has it. He sees the corner of his eye that this girl is about to be run over by a truck. Right?
Yeah.
He sees the silhouette of a truck, rushing towards this girl, and so he pushes the girl out of the way. It's like the one time he goes out, he does this, and screen goes to black, and he's dead.
Yeah. He's in heaven now.
Right? So now he's in heaven. He's in front of in front of this goddess, and she tells him all of this that he is dead now, and this is what he can do. He can go to heaven now and everything. But he has to find out, is the girl okay? The goddess says she's fine. Um, at least, and he's like, oh well, thank God, at least I didn't die for nothing. Then the goddess starts to crack up because she starts to tell him that, actually, you didn't have to do anything because she wasn't in any danger at all. But then the guy is like, well, what do you mean? She's gonna be run over by a truck. And then she tells him that it was a tractor that was barely moving. She just saw the shadow of it, and he panicked, pushed the girl out of the way, and assumed that he was gonna be run over. He was so scared that he just died of shock.
Wait, was it a tractor
Making
or a
this hilarious.
steamroller?
Or something like
Something
that.
really
And then
slow.
he just died of shock. Something really slow. He wasn't even touched by the thing. He died of a heart attack of some kind. And even the doctors in the hospital were cracking up because he was frozen. His hands were frozen. His face was frozen. In theory, he just died like that. And he gets so pissed with how the goddess was talking down to him that when she tells him that he can take anything he wants to this fantasy world and be a hero, a magic or magical item, he tells her that no, I don't want any of that. I'm gonna take you. He tells the goddess he's gonna take her into this fantasy world, and that's what we're gonna do. And so she starts panicking and everything. So now she's stuck in this RPG world with this goddess, and now they have to figure out how they're going to defeat, let's say, the Voldemort or the Sauron of this realm.
Yeah.
But they can't. I mean, they're so far removed from that because where they are is this really really regular village that is farthest from where actual adventuring happens. Like at one point they try to go out and kill basic monsters and they can't even do
They
that.
get eaten by frogs.
Right? Exactly. They sign up in the guild, and they get these cards, and through them, every time they complete a mission or a fetch quest or some kind of job, then like an RPG, they level up, and they can choose on the card which powers they want to get stronger. So as they go on, they get these powers that we're familiar with in games that we play, Skyrim, Final Fantasy, stuff like that. And it's very hard to, it's kind of hard to explain like why. It's funny, but it's like just how they use these usual tropes
Yeah.
in what do you call this in this show. It just has me cracking up all the time. So now they have a goddess who's pretty, and she's really stupid, by the
She
way.
is.
She's really stupid,
Useless.
and she's useless, but she's really powerful with healing magic. That's what she is. So, and since he didn't ask for a magical item or anything, and he's expecting, oh no, but I'm, for sure, I'm adept at something. And they say he's adept at selling stuff. He should be a merchant. And so he can't even be a good adventurer. right? But he really forces the issue in that regard. He wants to be an adventurer, so the progress is really quite slow. And that's both of them. So they're doing regular town jobs, building houses and stuff like that. And he starts to get really depressed because that's all they're doing. They're just doing little jobs in this town when he's supposed to be, in his mind, like the hero of this story. Later on they're joined by uh, a wizard and a knight who's supposed to be the tank.
Yeah.
Right?
Spider
But the
tank.
wizard is the best. Yeah, she's not a spider tank, just a regular
Big
figure of
Barda.
speech tank
Ooh.
for RPG. Yeah, a big Barda type.
I know her.
So what, John? What's the name of the mage?
Megumin.
Megumin. She's really powerful. She knows how to do explosion magic.
Mhm.
But the quirk here is that she can only do the most powerful explosion magic. Every time she uses it, she gets knocked out.
Yeah.
So she's done. So one use and done.
She can't do small
One per day.
explosions.
She can't even do one per. She refuses to do the smaller explosions because every time she levels up, she just wants to make that explosion spell even stronger. Like, that's it. This is all I'm about, man. This is it. This is me. I make nuclear bombs once a day. That's what I want to do. And then when they meet this female paladin or knight, um, she apparently is really really strong. But she likes to get how do I say it? She's masochistic.
Yeah. So she likes
Yeah.
getting hurt. Like,
So she likes getting hurt, so she's the perfect tank because she'll stand in front of the group and will you protect them, but it's really for really selfish reasons
Yeah.
because she wants to get hurt. Um,
to the point where it's
and
kind of uncomfortable for everybody watching
yes.
this.
For everybody involved, everybody's, oh my god, she's so strong, thank you for saving us and everything, and the lead character is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry for exposing you guys to these weirdness.
And
And yeah,
the voice acting in this show is really good because I feel like that's more than half of what makes this show fun. Um, you have the useless goddess who is, she's dumb, but she brings most of the fun, I feel. There's that tank who can barely hit anything and just wants to get hit, but she's lovable in her own way. But my favorite voice actress is the one that plays the explosion magician. It's just
Oh, yeah.
she's adorable but also dumb. They're all dumb. It's a really dumb show.
yeah, no, seriously, it's like you have this team. They're supposed to take out the big bad. I don't know if they're ever gonna get to that, but this is supposed to be the team that's supposed to do it, and you're like wondering how the hell are they gonna even reach that point? Because because oh my god, the stupidity is like out of bounds, man.
I mean,
It knows no bounds.
as a dungeon master, it just feels like the show is about a party that's constantly rolling ones, and no matter what they're trying to do, they're rolling ones all the time. Always rolling ones. But
No, it's yeah.
that said, this is on
So
its
I
second
really love
season.
it. I mean, I love this show. I mean, I love to watch it. In the second season, my favorite thing is when the goddess gets really riled up because of the undead and everything. But there's an undead in their party, and she kind of goes all out with a purification spell, and she almost always is close to killing their own party member
Yeah.
who is undead. So, it's a lot of these blunders happen on this show. The comic timing is perfect. I don't think I've skipped the intro once.
Yes, the intro is
because
good.
every time I see the intro, it's really hilarious.
Oh, what do you call this?
Both intros really, even the intro of the second one,
do you care?
of the second season.
Do you care to comment on the fan service on the show, Ej?
Alex will definitely hate it.
Oh,
There's
thanks
there's
for
quite a bit.
thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not sure if it's as no, it's not as bad as
Shokugeki.
what do you call Shokugeki. It's not that what do you call this? The way they treat it actually, it's like very normal. It's like how because like in Japan they're just very open with each other in baths.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, not in a co-ed in a mixed bath. What do you call this setting, but it's not the fan service is not done to be sexy
No.
too much. It's just it's too funny.
Yeah.
It's just too funny for you to take anything seriously. So I mean, yes, there is fan service, but yeah, this is not one of those shows I think that does it
You
badly.
get the impression that everything is done in the service of the joke, which I really like.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, this show is all about comedy, man.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest things I've seen, and I hope they keep going. Like I really hope they keep going. And if they don't, I'll probably just keep on reading the manga.
I like it. Before we move on to the final thing that we watched this week, Butch, did you read anything?
Me? No.
Did you have anything you want to talk about?
I have a question about what's that called? Gisoba?
Konosuba.
Yakisoba.
Yakisoba. Is there a overpowered older character? I just want to know. I'm just curious.
In this particular one, no. There is no overpowered older character yet. I don't think there is actually an overpowered character yet. I don't know, there is.
Is there?
Here's another funny thing because there is another character who also went through the same thing. Died in the regular world, showed up in this world. He wished for this really, really awesome sword.
Oh yeah.
I can't even tell
Yeah.
it because what happens is hilarious. At one point, this guy, this superhero, meets with our lame ass hero, and the hero gets really lucky and steals the sword from
Yeah.
him. He uses that steal spell, like when in Final Fantasy you cast steal. Lex, you should know this.
Yes. Okay. I'm just waiting for the others to react. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking his language.
He used steal and that guy. The what do you call this? The probabilities of you getting a really powerful thing are pretty low. But he actually ends up succeeding, and he steals the sword from the guy,
Mhm.
and the guy ends up like begging for him to get the sword back. I don't remember exactly what happens to the sword
He sells it.
because it just
He
disappears.
sells it.
Yeah, that's right. He sells the sword, and so that character disappears for a really long time
I know.
because he's just on a quest to get his sword
Yeah.
back. This really, really powerful sword that only he can use.
So I will say the art quality in Konosuba is not as good as in Little
Yeah,
Witch
it doesn't
Academia,
matter.
but
It doesn't matter.
the jokes, it's the batting average for the jokes is practically 99% for me anyway.
Oh no, every episode,
Yeah.
every episode is a joy, man. I mean, I don't think I've. This is one of those where there's like a laugh out loud something
True, very true.
in what do you call this in any of in the episode. I crack up. I almost
But at
die.
the same time, you get a little mad at yourself because you're like, that was really dumb, but I loved it.
I'm still laughing, man. I don't even know why.
Let's move on to this film that we saw, Age.
Yeah.
Lex Butch, have you heard of the filmmaker Makoto Shinkai?
Sure, yeah. That Makoto, yeah.
Yeah?
Okay.
Good old
Makoto
Mackie?
Makati.
Lex,
Makoto, Makati, very similar. Yeah, I heard of
he
it.
made...
Great guy, great guy.
What did he do? He did 5 centimeters per second. I think I told you about that, Lex.
Yeah.
he's
like
one of these-
crying movies.
Yeah, he's one of these Japanese directors with a real good eye for cinematography. He's been called like the new, what's his name? He's the new Hayao Miyazaki.
What's his name?
Mhm.
How
that,
dare?
that dude.
The new Steven Spielberg.
How dare?
Uh-huh.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
He Makoto Shinkai did Garden of Words as well, which I didn't like as much. And this is his latest film. It's called Your
I
Name.
have never seen a thing of his until
Oh,
this.
really?
Oh yeah,
Well, I will say this is his best one. Uh,
that's what I
all the
hear.
others, the stories aren't as good. They're decent, but all the others have the same quality of art. I will say that. Really, really good art. Um, but this is his first film that I've seen that has really high quality art and high quality story, which is impressive considering he wrote and directed it. And art,
This thing has a mix of drama, humor, sad, the sadness, the highs and the lows.
mhm.
It's like the mix. It's so perfectly
Yeah,
balanced. Like I have not seen an anime in a really long time that just brought it in so many
yeah.
levels. Like I was shocked when it wasn't even nominated for the animation
Wasn't
Oscar.
it?
That that no, it wasn't.
Huh.
This
It
one?
wasn't there. Yes, it wasn't there. It was like, how could you?
How could you?
How could you?
It is it's called Kimi no na wa, or Your Name in English. And I'm gonna set it up each. It's about
Yes, sure.
a teenage boy and a teenage girl who the teenage
Of
boy lives in
course,
Tokyo.
teenagers.
Yeah, he lives in Tokyo. He works as a part-time waiter while studying architecture. The girl lives in rural Japan, rural Japan, in a
Mm-hmm.
village called Itomori, and she is also in high school, but at the same time she is a shrine attendant, or rather, her family takes care of a Shinto shrine, and
Oh, okay.
they discover in the first act of the movie that every few days when they wake up, they switch places. Like the boy wakes up in the girl's body, and the girl wakes up in the boy's body, and they they need to go through that whole day as that other person. Um, and this happens several times over the course of the first act to the point where they find ways to communicate with each other, like leaving notes in their daily notebooks or writing on their own palms a message for the other person to see when he or she switches back. Uh, to that extent, they're building a sort of long distance relationship where they can't really communicate with each other real time, but it's just, for lack of a better word, it's sweet because it's like pen pals to the 10th degree. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Yeah.
and also while they are in each other's lives, the girl in the boy's body like doesn't neglect school. She still goes to school as him. Still participates in the relationships he has. You know, because they have understanding that we can't do anything about this. We better help each other out. You take care of my body as it's progressing throughout this condition that we both have, and I won't mess with your body either. You know, they come up with a what's the word, with a compromise. Uh, the girl even sets up a date for the boy to come
Yeah.
back to.
They help each other
Yeah,
out.
which is they become best friends over the course of the first and second act, which is really sweet. And I'm not going to spoil anything for the third act because it takes a sort of sci-fi
Yeah,
twist.
that
This movie.
this thing goes
Yeah,
places.
it becomes spiritual. It becomes science fiction. Uh, I hesitate to call it
I
religious
was
because it's more of a philosophical
I was
thing.
shocked and amazed
Yes.
at where this went.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's how
and
shocked
it
you were.
still made sense.
Yeah. Your thoughts,
And
each.
it still made what do you call this? Huh?
Your thoughts. Go on.
No, I mean, I was already sold on the whole oh, the switching bodies part and everything, and and then you're already expecting that okay, they're gonna meet each other at some point and everything, and then the shit really hits the
Mm-hmm.
fan. And it's like it's very hard to talk about this without actually spoiling
Yeah,
it too. And I don't want to.
I won't.
I really don't wanna spoil this to anyone who hasn't seen it, because this is one of those definite must watch. It's like a positive experience. It's like there's some shows that are made, oh, the drama was what they call it really gutted me, and everything, and I couldn't stop thinking about because it was horrible. No, this is not like that.
Yeah,
This is something that you keep thinking about, but in a positive way. Like this hits you like amazing. I can't believe that this someone made an animated movie that brought all of these elements
true.
together and succeeded. I mean, I am not surprised why this thing is the highest grossing animated movie in Japan,
Yeah, it has
uh, of,
outgrossed.
of, of all
It has
time.
out-earned Spirited Away at this point. It's
Yep.
not
Wow.
surprising. It's not surprising, and the
And
reason.
it is one of the highest grossing movies in general,
Correct. Animated
last
movies.
year.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I will.
Well, I mean, in general, I think.
Nice. I will say that the reason why me and EJ don't want to spoil the thing is because it is both a plot element and a really huge emotional climax to the film. Well, not really a climax, but an emotional turning point in the film where you realize something about their situation. When you realize that thing, it's like, holy shit, what exactly is going on here? It feels a little bit like it's this is gonna sound weird, a romantic Twilight Zone, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it actually. And you don't, for a movie like this already at a certain point, you're like you've resigned yourself to a certain emotion, to a certain fate,
Mm-hmm.
right? You resign yourself to that. But then no,
Yeah.
man, this thing, it never is what you expect.
Yeah.
The third act is probably one of the best I have ever experienced in an animated film.
I agree. Uh,
And well, I don't know what else to say at this point, except this is one of those must sees.
Okay,
Whether
fine.
you are a
I'll watch
fan
it.
of anime, whether you are a fan of anime, or just someone who wants to see something entertaining.
yeah. Very true.
You don't you may not have seen a single animated thing in your life. You will love this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. To comment
Yes.
on, something visual, the art in this is excellent. Like you, me, Butch,
Mm-hmm.
Alex were artists. Uh, we can really appreciate the visual aspects of animation specifically. Not to exclude you,
I
Eve.
appreciated
Yeah.
the freaking visual beauty of
And I'm
this.
saying, you know how it's just lines on paper, right? But Makoto Shinkai directs it in such a way that he does the whole depth of field thing with photography, where objects in the foreground will be blurred out while objects in the background are in focus, and then
Yeah, yeah.
he will shift that to make it feel like a more real scene. And when there's a expansive view, there's a parallax effect, like objects in the distance will travel slower than objects close by. It feels like a
Yeah.
real world, is what I'm saying. It feels like if you watch this film, you will feel like you are in the film. That's how good the cinematography is. And I agree with EJ. This should have been nominated. This should have won, even.
This should have totally won.
Yeah.
This beats Zootopia any day.
Oh, yes.
Any day.
Shut your
Yes.
mouth.
And Zootopia won. I'm like, no.
And I like Zootopia.
I like Zootopia. Zootopia was good.
Yeah, not
but
as good as
I
this.
think uh, it's dude, it was so depressing because it's like you know that it was not even nominated. So it's like they got this so wrong. Like the Academy probably never saw it.
Of course, they never did.
Also, just to clarify on the film, this is a love story. For those of you regular anime fans looking for something action-packed or whatever, this is not that. It's a love story. It's a romantic film. It is a great date movie. to check out.
Definitely
Granted, your
yes.
partner is an anime fan, and I will say Jad loved it. We saw it when she got back from New Zealand, and she was crying for most of the film. So she really dug it.
I cried.
I
I
cried,
am
dude.
not ashamed to
I
say
had
it.
man tears. So yeah, it's really good.
This was overwhelming.
hmm Shout out to my friend.
Overwhelmingly good.
Shout out to my friend Gian who actually recommended this to me a few months back. He was
I thought you were about to say, shout out to my friend Makoto Shinkai. Good job,
my
man.
friend Maki. Good job, buddy. But no, Gian is my buddy from Cebu who recommends anime for me from time to time, and I'm glad he recommended this. And yeah, it was a good recommendation. I really enjoyed it. To date, I've seen it 3 times each.
Wow.
Yeah. I just have it on in the
Three
background
times.
because even if I'm not paying attention to the story, which I know by heart at this point, the art is just really inspiring. So, yeah.
So good.
I think that'll do it for our anime talk.
Oh, thank
Unless
God.
you guys.
Yep. Time for our panel discussion.
Yes.
But Butch, you should definitely see Your Name, man. I swear. I'll take it against you
I
if you
have a
don't.
question about that show.
There's no older guy who is over.
There is an older
Is
guy.
there?
Yeah, there is an older guy.
I was just gonna ask if Take's fractured relationship with her estranged father is a metaphor for what happens to the city of Itomori, but whatever, guys. You just put words in my mouth.
You
Go ahead.
son of a bitch. But look it up, Butch. You can find it
Did
online.
you ever wait? What? Why do you even bring that up? Were you reading up? Were you just reading up on it right
Of
now?
course.
Hey, if you don't want to answer, it's okay. If you don't remember, it's fine.
You're a son of a bitch.
It's like this. It's like he's just scouring the comments. Oh yeah, okay, I'll bring this up.
Yeah. I'm
Okay, panel
I'm
discussion.
gonna adjust Butch's caricature in the TK banner, make his ears just a little bit bigger. Lex, you had a panel discussion
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah, I actually forgot it. Sorry.
I mean, let's see if this is something worth talking about. It's still within the theme, but whether you're exposed to a lot of anime or not, you're definitely exposed to the art styles that the animes have shown.
Uh-huh.
They're from the very simple yet dynamic work of Hayao Miyazaki to the crazy, the really, really out there JoJo. What's the whole title of that show?
JoJo's
JoJo's
Bizarre
Bizarre
Adventure.
Adventure.
It's JoJo's Bizarre
Why does Butch
Adventure.
know that?
To
Which watches it?
Huh.
In Japanese, it's called Naru.
so there are varied styles, but there's a similarity also in a way, since you three are artists. Have you drawn
Thanks, I'm an
have you drawn any inspiration from any particular animation manga artists? Who are they, and what do they bring
Oof.
to the Western style?
Japanese specifically?
Yeah, anime.
Huh.
I mean, it's because there's a difference between anime art styles in general and the Western styles. But from those works, what have you brought to your own art,
Oh man.
and what do you think the differences are? I mean, just looking at anime, manga, and Western comics art, like what are the difference? What are the positive things that you've learned from that?
Okay.
If any.
All right. You mind if I go first, guys?
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll say well, the easy one is Joe Madureira, right? But that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
He was a big influence on me on my art in the 90s to the point where I became a Joe Mad clone at some point in my career, and there's still some parts of his art that make it into my style today. But as far as pure mangaka art or real anime style, I would say I've been largely influenced by this guy called Ogure, Oh, great.
Yeah,
Oh man,
yeah,
I knew it.
uh, he worked on Tenjo Tenge and Air
Of
Gear.
course.
I love that,
Yeah.
dude. I love that.
And he
One of the best fights I've
he
seen.
could be criticized for putting a little too much etchy in his work.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
but I really dug his art at the time because it was very energetic, and he tended to wrote to write his own stuff as well, but he had no bones about just making it all action. Like there
Oh
was no
yeah,
real depth to the stories, but that's when I really fell
no,
in love with manga style action. Crazy fight scenes, crazy destruction from a single punch. Uh,
yeah, because I mean, from that, because I also saw Tenjo Tenge and like, because I'm really into Dragon Ball and I'm still a Dragon Ball fan and I still continue to watch it until
mm,
now. But the fights are different. It's very fluid. There are a lot of changes. It's not just several punches being thrown really really quickly. It's just punches and kicks. But no, there are a lot of different moves. So it's like there are a lot of panels were
yeah,
drawn to put fights together. A lot of cells were thrown. Really different art put together to complete a fight scene, and the fights are so creative, really well
yeah.
choreographed.
And
It's amazing. It was
what I
amazing.
like also is that in the manga, the fights. I mean, even though the figure work on his art is excellent, impeccable, even his backgrounds
Mm.
are also really, really good. I mean, there's this chase fight scene, motorbike fight scene that happens in a shipyard, and you see
Yeah.
all the boats, all the ships drawn in full detail. And
I never
this is
noticed.
before SketchUp. This is before all the 3D assistants became a fad. This is like late
Damn.
90s.
That's tough.
And yeah, it looked like, some of it was probably referenced, sure, but like it looked like it was drawn, but looked really, really good. And that's why even today, I try to, as much as I can without overdoing it, I try to incorporate tones into my art, tones, just to
Hmm.
try to capture that oh great feel. I don't know why Boss laughed
Nice.
at that name, but yeah, let's do your proper album. What about you, Lex?
Hmm.
Any manga or anime
Um,
influence in your art?
in terms of influence on my art, it's very difficult to pinpoint a specific um, mangaka or Japanese artist
Mm.
that directly influenced me because um, I mostly base them or most of the stuff that I look um, most of the stuff that I look at, I don't really copy them, but I remember there was a time that I'm a big fan of the Evangelion series,
Hmm.
and there was a time I was kept on rereading the manga, and it was drawn by the same character designer of the movie or the series, which was what was his name? Um, Sadamoto something. Yoshiyuki Sadamoto. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Nice.
him. Um, the thing is, he has very good mecha designs. Even in the manga, um, his industrial designs, along with the mecha, are very good in also his figures and in anatomy. So that's one thing that that really I was looking up to. Another thing could be um, Masamu Nishiro. I think everyone follows him
Yucks,
or
bastos.
his style. Yeah, not his latest ones like
Ah,
John
okay.
does because yeah, that's his favorite. But his his Ghost in the Shell stuff, Appleseed. I think most of everyone who's doing mecha and sci-fi today has or got a lot of their influence from Masamune Shirow stuff back in the 90s.
No doubt.
And yeah, that's mostly it.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Butch,
think so.
any manga influence at all? Do you hate Asians?
Yeah,
Do you
manga's
hate yourself?
that's a
Manga sweet.
it's a huge influence in my life. Especially Manga Studio 5. I use that all the time. It's my favorite platform for when Photoshop just can't do it. That's what I use.
Ah, yeah. But seriously, is there any influence at all, like in any of that older stuff even?
No.
Not at
Oh,
all,
oh.
really. That's so weird.
I like tones,
Hmm.
but that's not exclusively a manga thing though. Although of course they use it a lot.
But your aversion to manga, is it because of art? Or is there a cultural thing that you don't get? There's a general theme to anime or manga that you don't like?
Oh, let's not go there.
What's the, why don't you get into it?
There's so much goddamn talking and fucking. Uh, I just don't. Let's not get into it.
But
No, I think
So much goddamn
no,
talking.
man.
That happens
I
in all
think
comics.
some people are turned off by it because most of the time it might look too childish or too silly, or sometimes too bastos, because that's what people are.
That's what I love about
Um,
it.
yeah, that's what they mostly see. Um,
Yeah.
and
That's what
especially
Wiki
the
see.
most popular ones, they're very more cartoony and targeted towards a younger audience, which probably turns off a lot of people who got used to
it's very
traditional, like
broad.
That's true
Western
though.
media.
And those are all
But
the shonen.
I just want to tell Butch that maybe there's something, or there are some books or some anime that we can recommend to him, because there are some elements in Japanese manga and anime that are not present in the American comics, which can really benefit your storytelling, or especially your comics.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, like sometimes, especially in the comics, they try to use hyper realistic backgrounds, and at the same time, the characters have a basic anatomy, but it gives a more real sense, or the book looks a lot more real, because the backgrounds, everything are like very realistic, and they don't focus too much on the human figure, and they have um, like exaggeration of anatomy, not too much, but it just gives off a certain grace to the figure compared to like very stiff American comics and lots of hatching. But yeah, if you mix some of those elements to American comics, it has a very big difference.
I mean,
Yeah,
whenever I want to feel like I need uh, manga art to be injected into, or like manga energy to be injected into my art, I just look at Akira all over again, and that
yeah,
usually fixes everything. Like I don't know if you guys have, I don't know if you've seen the movie Butch Akira.
Sure.
yeah, yeah. They can watch it.
The books are 10 times better than the movie. Like I shit you not. Like the amount of detail in the vehicles and the architecture and the action scenes, it's been what? 20 years since Akira came out? 20, 25 years? Nothing
Mhm.
has been able to replicate the quality of the Akira books for me.
Exploding
Wow.
buildings, like
Yeah.
ah, double
Really
page
really good.
spreads of buildings, and there's tiny bits of them all around.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh my god, the buildings. Oh my god.
Individual windows, man. Crazy.
And this
Uh
was before
Um,
SketchUp.
yeah.
Yeah, years, decades before SketchUp. What about you, Ej? Who's your
Well, when I was younger, all the way until
Yesterday.
college, and even later on, yeah, early 20s, I used to draw a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes every day. So I didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't know how to do the what do you call this, the thumbs, or definitely if I met you, John, earlier, you were giving me some tips on how to start out, do certain things, and I was like, I realized, oh my god, yeah, this would help, but I wasn't that. um, into it
I was too
anymore.
late.
Yeah, I mean, that made me sad though, 'cause I was like, I feel like, man, if this was, if we just met a little earlier,
Hmm.
I would maybe I'd still be drawing, and maybe I'd be a little better.
Mm.
Careful,
But
John.
and there are some things I had a hard time with. I mean,
It's never
like
too late.
the what do you call this? I had problems with circles. Circles were a bitch for
Mm.
me. Like I always wanted to draw automobiles, but curves and circles, I made it very very hard. And automobiles have
Lots
what
of
do you
them.
call this? A lot of design design in them, and it's one of those things that discouraged me. But I was really thankful that I discovered Akira Toriyama because
Dragon Ball.
uh, Toriyama's work was something that I could replicate to a degree,
Yeah.
and it was enjoyable for me to do that. Ridiculous hair, simple faces, which is something very difficult, especially for Western art. It's like the faces are amazing, incredibly detailed and realistic, whereas anime is a lot simpler,
It's true.
and it made it easier for me to keep doing that. So I just like drawing these characters, and I draw Marvel character DC characters in this
Wow.
style, in this Akira Toriyama, because I was like, I liked it. I really enjoyed it for a while. I'd even the clothing elements and stuff. I tried to change it, and so I was then, and then when I saw Joe Mad's style, I was like, wow,
You were
this
so
is like
mad.
what I'm trying to. This is like what I'm trying to go for. This mix of Western art and and manga art. Uh, for a while, that was my big influence. Something that I always tried to do. Had great difficulty with realistic looking faces, and women's bodies. Not that I was uncomfortable in any way. It's just that, man, my boobs always look lopsided. This is
Oh, no.
horrible.
Mine too.
It's like, I'm never gonna get this. And it's like, and you're supposed to be practicing boobs and butts, when you're drawing. It's supposed to be a normal thing. You're an artist, right? You're supposed to draw these things. But
Sure.
what do you call this? I didn't enjoy drawing the female body so much. It was weird. It's not like I don't appreciate it, but it's like I had difficulty with that. So at a certain point, it's like I felt I couldn't level up my work, and
You needed
uh,
reference.
that's where yeah, more of that. I did, yeah, again, no guidance. I had no guidance. A lot of the things you told me before about making art makes so much sense, you know.
But I like that. Like
But
the fact
yeah,
that Toriyama was an influence on you. Like he's not some guy who is known for like his realism or anything.
yeah,
He's known for his energy, I feel like. And I guess
yep,
that's what you gravitated to. And that's fine. Maybe your art was never supposed to be real in that sense. It was supposed to be more
yep.
gestural, I want to say.
I enjoyed the, what do you call this, the craziness, the funkiness of the art
Right.
style. I felt like I didn't need to be pressured for it to be so realistic, for it to be so fine art school.
That's true.
I was just doing my thing, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun for a
Have
while.
you read Akira Age books? I mean, they're phone books, I know.
No, phone books.
The Akira
They're very
volumes
thick.
are phone book size.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I feel like I should now, because I'm very curious, as the art, seeing detail in architecture and vehicles like that. I mean, I really appreciate art like that as well. So
Yeah. I mean, I talked about all of Akira already here on TK in the previous season, I want to say. So, if you guys want to listen to that stuff, just go back about a couple of years. I talked about Akira, but to you guys, the three of you who have not yet read it, I highly recommend it. It's
I
it's a
read it.
feast. It's a feast. Oh, you have? No, you're a liar. You said you never
I
finished
did.
it.
I finished it with a weird ending.
Oh, okay. The animated film is a condensed version of the book with a different ending because the
Yeah.
animated film was actually made at the same time. Well, the book had not yet been finished when the animated film was made.
It's a
It has
different ending
a
each.
yeah.
The movie had feel good ending.
The movie left a lot of things unexplained. So yeah. That'll be it actually. If nobody has anything else to add, to our listeners, if you are fans of any of the shows that we discussed this evening, Konosuba, Prison School, Little Witch Academia, what else did I talk about? Your Name. If you
Oh,
are a
great.
fan, great too. I feel like I watched another anime that I didn't bring up. I'll bring that up another time. Uh, Ghost in the Shell, even, or whatever else. If you are a fan or have seen any of the shows we talked about this evening or this episode, post a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. No spoilers, please. Uh, and also recommend other shows for us to check out. For Butch specifically, if you want to point out shows that have an old, overpowered gentleman who acts like he doesn't know anything, just comment below. And also, I recently discovered that the Tagalog slam dunks are on YouTube.
Time to watch it again.
It's all there. That'll be it for this episode. EJ, Butch, Alex, thank you for joining me this evening. Butch, thank you so much for your anime recommendations.
No problem, anytime.
Very good. Excellent job. Join us again next week, where we go back to comic books and Butch is silent once again. We love you, everyone. Thank you. Good evening.
Bye.
Konnichiwa. Oh, sayonara, sorry.
まどろみの中で生ぬるい甲羅にここでないどっかを夢見たよ教室の窓の外に電車に揺られ運ばれる朝に運命だとか未来とかって言葉がどれだけ手を伸ばそうと届かない場所で僕ら恋をする時計の針も二人を横目に見ながら進むこんな世界を二人で一生いや何生でも生き抜いてゆこう初めましてなんてさ遥か彼方へと